Okay, one of the first things to look at is how this looks from a user's perspective. So over here I have a Teams environment with some conversations in it, and as you can see I have some demo credit card numbers. These are not fake numbers, these are used to check if a credit card is correct or not. And let's see if I'm working here within a Teams environment which has guests, what kind of reaction I will get if I'll want to share information like this. So I'm just going to check this out, credit card, etc, etc, etc. Let me just see what happens next. So this is going to take a couple of seconds for the engine to react to this. So in the end, oh, and there you have it, the message has been blocked. On the other end, any users will see that the message was blocked. They will not see any content. From my end right now, I can click on what can I do, and in this case I can have a business override. So let me just justify this with a business override. For example, this has been cleared. Okay, and I'll just confirm it, and in which case, as you can see, the justification solved the blockage of the message. So now it has been released again. So this is how it works from Microsoft Teams. So let me just check out over here. I have a let me just go over here, and over here I have my my Exchange, my Outlook, and let me just show you this one. Here you see I've tried to send the same Excel sheet, well, there it is, with credit card information to a recipient. In my case, I configured the DLP not to block it instantly, but to notify the person that the message has been blocked. So this is the message I get. It contains sensitive information, which is the credit card information, and as you can see, it has been blocked from Exchange. So let's take a look how this would work from SharePoint. And over here I have a SharePoint document library, and as you can see I have a lot of information which contain credit card information. It's Excel sheets, PowerPoints, you name it, and as you can see I have a little icon over here which states that it contains sensitive information. Some commands are not available. So if I go there and I'll view the policy tip, again I get information on the sensitivity. In this case it is credit card information. It also has been labeled, as you can see over here, and that's another rule I set to check for confidential information. So it has two items which triggered the DLP rule. In my case I can also override it. For example, has been cleared, and in the next section I will show you where that will end up. So let's submit this. The policy has been overwritten. I'll just close it to continue over here, and now the document will be shared. So this is how it works from a SharePoint perspective. As you can see I have another icon right now which states again that it's sensitive information, but well, in my case it has been overruled. So that's the way, that's why I have a different kind of icon over here. Okay, so now we have Exchange, we've got Teams, we've got SharePoint. One of the other things which is kind of new right now is endpoint data loss prevention. So for example, I have a Word document over here and I have an Excel document over here. In my case I have a very strict rule which states that information cannot be copied, even though it's being copied to an application I trust. So just to show you how that works, let me just copy this and let me just try to paste it over here. And in the end, no, that's not possible because of an organizational policy. So that's endpoint data loss prevention in action. I could overrule this as well, of course, because that's my policy, but I choose not to do so. So this is basically how this works from an end user's perspective. Sensitive information types are just one of the ways you can let Microsoft 365 find your sensitive information. As you can see over here, there's in my tenant there's more than 200 items, which are 200 sensitive information types, which are mostly out of the box by Microsoft, but I do have some custom types as well. The sensitive information type has some components, and let's just take a look at some of these components. For this, I will go to my my demonstration information type, which is over here. I'll just open it up, wait for it to there it is, and I'll just edit the sensitive information type. Let me just, wow, there it is. Okay, let's edit this one. What I want to find in my environment is any information which is regarding a student number. My requirements for a match is that it needs to be a V followed by 8 digits. I also have some supporting elements, so if any of these words are in the proximity of this regular expression, then I should get a hit. So these are student number with a space in between, and with a capital S. So this is my keyword list. Again, if I want to not use a regular expression, I can have keywords or a large set of keywords called a dictionary, for example. The positive thing about a dictionary is that you can update that dictionary without the need for editing the sensitive information type. Okay, I set my confidence level to the default, that's okay, and I have a, well, the character proximity I changed to 150. So the matching element needs to be within a 150 character base before I get a hit. So okay, I'm happy with this. I won't save it because it's already okay, but I'm going to test it. And in order to test it, I have 3 files. The first of all is this one. It states this is my student number from when I was in college. It has the V and it has the 8 digits. So let me just see how that works if I'm going to test it. So let me open this one. Even though the file is relatively small, it's still going to take some time for the algorithm to work, so let's just be patient. But now it says, okay, I've got a match on student number, and I've got, of course, a match by the matching element. So okay, that's cool. So let me just go to another one. I'm going to test 2, and test 2 is this one. This is not my student number. Again, student number, but as you can see, it does not have a match with the matching element. So let's see how that works. Test 2 over here. I'm going to test it against my sensitive information type, and let's see how this is going to work. Boom, boom, boom. Please be patient. Okay, no sensitive content was found. Okay, that's cool, that's correct. And so let's go to test number 3. It includes the matching element very prominently, as you can see, a correct number. However, the supporting element is over here, and that's more than 150 characters. So let's just see how that goes if we're going to test this one. And as you might have guessed, no sensitive information was found. So this is a way you can create a sensitive information type and really test it out. Again, sensitive information types are not the only thing you can use for this. There's also the trainable classifiers, of course, but I did have a session on this some time ago, so I won't go into much detail. But you can see there are a lot of out-of-the-box trained classifiers which are already built in and ready to use for you to, to use if you have the proper license, of course. Okay, the main bulk of the DLP is of course the policies and alerting and dashboarding. So let's just go and take a deep dive into those aspects. So over here I have my data loss prevention dashboard, and if I go to policies, I will be able to create a DLP policy. I can either use a template, for example, for UK or US financial data, which is going to look for these kinds of sensitive information types. I can also have a custom, in which case I have to create my own policy and create what kind of information needs to be detected. So right now I'm going for this one, and I'll go next. I'll say this is a demo. And I'll go next, and now I've got the locations. So over here you see all the locations which are covered. Some of them are still in preview. The devices part isn't. It's now been released as general available. So let me just only show you these components, these locations, and as you can see over here, I can have and either include or exclude specific users, groups, teams, sites, etc., etc. I won't, in this case, I'll just include any information which is either in Exchange or SharePoint, etc. So let's just go to the next one. In this case, it will say, okay, you're going to look for this kind of information. I will go into the advanced DLP in a couple of minutes, but for now I'm okay with this. Okay, and what action do you want to have it detected? So I can share it outside of my organization or inside my organization. You do need to have specific rules for either of those. So I'll go for outside my organization, go next, and now I have some specific components. Most of them are about the end user. What kind of message will the end user get? Also the amount of sensitive information. So for example, if I want to have at least 2 and not 10, no, 2, oh, it doesn't take it, okay, and then I'll do it like this. I can also send some incident reports, for example, to my compliance officer, my security officer, you name it. And what's also very important is this one. I can restrict the access, and that's the way you can control those little icons you saw in SharePoint, for example, or the message being blocked in Teams. So let me just restrict the access and let's see what happens. So over here I can say, okay, I want to restrict my access from SharePoint, OneDrive and Teams, for example. So let me just don't override it. In my case, I had a business justification override, but I don't want to, so let me just block that one. I'm also going to block it for everyone, which means that the information will be blocked from anyone excluding the owner, modifier and site admin. The other persons will not have access to the file or to the document until the problem for DLP has been solved. So this is from SharePoint, OneDrive and Teams perspective. It also blocks, it will also block Exchange messages, by the way. But I also want to restrict activities on Windows devices. So let me say I don't want to audit it. I want to block all kinds of actions when it is related to this sensitive information. So I'll just block anything in which case people won't be able to store a document on a USB drive, on a network share, copy it to clipboard, you name it. The other grayed out options, by the way, are part of the preview functions. So okay, I'm happy with this. Okay, and this is an important one. In my case, my experience is to really test it out first, see if what kind of hits you get, what kind of information is detected, where it comes from, etc. So let's just test it out. I won't show any policy tips while in testing mode, which means that people, end users will not get any, won't feel a thing, if you want to call it like that. So the policy will be active, but only in a sort of like audit mode. So let me test it out first. Okay, I'm happy with this. I'll just submit it. what you might notice is that during this little wizard, I wasn't asked about any low volume or high volume, which the system will create. It will create a policy which contains a low volume of content and a high volume of content policy. So and it's still submitting, so we'll have to wait a couple of seconds. In the end, you can modify this, and which basically means that within one policy you can set, there it is, you can create different levels for detection. For example, if you're okay with people sending emails containing sensitive information, and that's just like that 2 or 3 hits within the mail, and that's okay, then you can have, for example, a business override. If you want to block the access when it exceeds, for example, things like 10 or 12 items, then you can set that as well. So let me just show you. Over here I have my newly created DLP template. Again, I can have the locations, but that's not what I want. Here we go. Now we can go into the advanced DLP. So over here I have a low volume, which is, as you can see, it's basically the same. The only difference is the number of hits. So if I edit this one, you will see that this instance is very low. It's just 1. I could set this, for example, to 5, for example. And these are the sensitive information types I already used from the template. Over here is the action. Content is shared. One of the things I can also include over here in the advanced template wizard is any exceptions. For example, content contains or is shared from, etc. So I have some exceptions. I can also have from Exchange exceptions on domains, etc. Here I have my actions, my notification setting, and here within the notification setting there are a lot of options. I can customize the policy tip, I can customize the email message which is being sent to people. I can also change who gets notified, for example, not just the owners but also a compliance officer, for example. So these are the settings which modify or the behavior of the notifications. Over here I have my user override, and as I decided I don't want a user override, and over here I can set any alerts. So in this case I want to set a alert, and let's say it's a high alert, and every time the activity matches the rule I want to have an alert created. So these are this is the one I'm very content with. Over here you see priority, and this is very important because a DLP rule can have multiple, or a DLP policy can have multiple rules, and the priority is very important because the highest is the most important one. So if you want, and you can also configure these rules to stop when there is a hit, so you can have some logic within that as well. So these are the policies. So that's one thing for your admins to worry about. The other thing, if we go into data loss prevention, is the alerting. So I'll just show you a couple of these. Over here I have a lot of alerts based on some demos I already gave. For example, over here I have a DLP match for a Teams conversation. So you'll see the details, you'll see when it appeared, you'll see who the user was which triggered the DLP rule, and I can even manage the alert by asking people in my organization to take a look at that alert. In my case no one is assigned yet. It's this user, which basically is myself. This is the rule which was activated, and if I really want to go any deeper I can go to the event, and then it says, well, there was a chat, there was sensitive information found in that chat, and here I have more information. These were the rules, these were the information, like a credit card number which was found 2 times, so the confidence is very high for this, and my action was to block the access. If I want to go over here, I can even see what kind of sensitive information types were found, which was already in the details, of course. So this is one way to really look at your DLP. your DLP alerts, if they create alerts, of course. If you want to have an overview of all your DLP actions, then you can go to my report section. And this is the report section for the Compliance Center. It's got a lot of information, and here at the bottom we find the DLP rules. There's of course the matches, the incidents, because not all DLP match needs to be an incident, of course, and very interesting might be the false positives. So let's take a look. Not just false positives, by the way, but also overrides. So in my earlier demo, I showed you that a person could override the DLP rule. So let's just take a look at some of those actions. Let me just, yep, come on. No data available, but I already seen the data. Okay, let me just refresh this one. Let me set this to a little bit more in the past, something like this. Okay, and here we have some more information. So let me just, well, this is very interesting, isn't it? Okay, that was weird, but I did sort it out right now. I selected the policy and now we have the information. So over here I have some information on DLP, either false positives or overrides. So let me just select this one, and over here you see again the rule which was found, also what was shared, what kind of information, the document which was shared, and also, which is very important in my case, my justification. So this is a way to find any DLP rules which were overwritten, and also the justification of the person. So if you want to, well, notify the person or get into contact with the person, in my case that's the actor over here, this is the reason he or she decided not to, to really share the document, for example, even though it was found by a DLP rule. So these are the most important things regarding data loss prevention. We've seen policies, we've seen alerts, we've seen the dashboards like this one, for example, which shows us how many DLP rules were, well, basically also an incident for the environment, and then we can take a look at those a bit more in detail. So that's basically in half an hour how DLP works in Microsoft 365.